Hi everyone and welcome to Creative Cakes by Sharon. Today I have something exciting to share with you, and as you might have already guessed, I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own Harry Styles cake topper. Guys, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you see the rest of my tutorials as I release them on how to create Louis, Liam, Niall and Zane. So let's get started. I have here my long fondant roller. I've got a black edible marker. I've got two lengths of wires and they're about 8 inches each. I've got my X-Acto blade, a pair of scissors, I've got my Harry Styles template, and you can get a copy of this in the description box below. I've got about 250 grams of gum paste and a sheet of wax paper. First thing I need to do is to roll out my gum paste, and not too thin. We want these toppers to be strong enough when we're finished to stand up on their own, and also thick enough to insert the wire. So I'm aiming for about 5 millimeters thick and just large enough so that my template fits onto the gum paste. Now I'm going to start cutting out the cake topper, and the first cut I do is along the bottom, and I want to make sure that I get this as straight as possible because this is going to stand either on top of my cake or in front of the cake. And following this, I'm going to go all around the edges of the template, making sure I take the time to get into all the little grooves and the crevices and the little flecks in Harry's hair. The more time and care I take in this step, the more details I'll have in my end product. So I'm just going to continue my way around the template, and the gum paste which I remove can always be reused for another project. The next step is to carefully lift up the gum paste and transfer it onto my sheet of wax paper. At this stage, I'm just going to take a few moments to smooth out all the edges of my gum paste. You'll notice sometimes when you cut fondant or gum paste with a blade, you get a bit of a dragged effect on the edge of the cut. So I'm just going to smooth out all the edges and make sure the little flecks of hair are nice and pointy so that the end product will be nice and smooth. Now it's time to start inserting the two pieces of wire into the topper, and I first want to start by just checking where I'm going to place this wire because I don't want it coming out the top of Harry's shoulder and being visible. So I'm just going to rest one of my hands over the top of the gum paste just to guide and make sure that the wire doesn't end up poking out through the top of the gum paste, just gently sliding it into the gum paste. Now you will notice that there's a bit of a line that it creates, but you can smooth this out with your hand or your fondant roller or even a cake smoother. And once I've inserted my second wire and smoothed out my topper, I'm going to leave this overnight to dry fully so that it's nice and hard before I attempt to add any of the details. Now it's been a good 24 hours that my topper's been drying, and I'm going to work from the bottom up. At home, you might choose to work from the top down, but if you do, remember that the point closest to your body is going to smudge, so it's best to work on the point that is away from your body. So the first thing I need to do is cut out these little black details. So I'm going to start with the little bit of the detail on his t-shirt. So take your time and carefully cut out the black markings on the template. It can be a little bit tricky to get into all the little fine details, but just keep maneuvering your paper carefully until you've cut out all the black markings. Now once I've cut all the black details out of my template from his t-shirt, I'm going to position it onto my gum paste topper, and now with my black edible marker, I'm going to carefully start colouring in those gaps or cutouts that we just created. When you're doing this, it's important to remember to always use your other hand and your fingers to support the template so that it doesn't move underneath the marker. Once I finish this, I'll carefully remove the template, and now I'm going to cut out Harry's hair. So I'm going to cut along the black line of his hair, and you can see when I reach his eye, the black continues onto his eye and down the shadow of his nose. So I have to follow with my scissors the line of this black shadow. So once I've cut around a complete section of black, then I reposition the template onto the gum paste. So now my template is in two pieces, and I'm not going to discard this because I'm going to use the mouthpiece as a guide when I'm colouring in. So using my black edible marker, I'm going to shade in all of the areas where I've cut out, but just being careful not to colour in the entire mouth because we need only the outline to be in black and the centre to be in white. So I'm going to use a similar technique for his eye as well as his hair in creating the light and dark areas. And I'm just going to use the other section of the template as a guide as where to colour in with my black edible marker on the eyes and the hair. If you don't feel confident enough to do this by yourself, you can simply cut out the black sections of the eye and then just colour in the remaining gaps onto the gum paste. The largest amount of shading on Harry is of course his hair, so I found it easy to work in small sections at a time on the point furthest away from me, though first I made some markings on where I wanted to leave the gum paste showing white, and then slowly, little bit by bit, I started shading in the entire section of Harry's hair until I was completely finished. The final bit of detail I added was a shading just around the edge of Harry's shoulders, as well as the crease in his cheek and his other nostril. So hopefully guys you can see that this is a really effective cake topper that you can create at home. It doesn't take a lot of materials and it produces a stunning result. Guys, if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give it a like and share it with your friends. I love to get your feedback, so don't forget to leave me a comment in the section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can see all of the other members of the One Direction group. And as always, thanks for watching guys.